Dr. Jazz.
Oh, good. Yeah,
Dr.
You're in
Jazz.
Australia now?
Australia. Yeah,
Weren't you in Canada? I mean, are you permanent in Australia or
more or less. Yeah, I've got a
really?
nice job here at the university. I'm running a graduate research course in improvisation at the
Oh,
conservatorium here, which I love.
wow.
Um, but I go back to Canada at least once a year, so I'm back there in June, usually June and
Fantastic.
July.
Wow.
Yeah.
How is the Australian scene for improvised music? I have, I mean, I know some players, but like, actually, I'm like
Yeah,
zero.
yeah, it's pretty incredible. I was kind of blown away when I first got here. I mean, I knew of people like Mike Knock,
Yeah, yeah,
the piano player, and uh, Scott Tinkler, Simon Barker, a
yeah.
couple of people who you might have heard of. But wow, there's just no end of great players
Really?
here,
Oh,
spanning like really experimental free improv stuff to just incredible straight ahead players as well. So.
wow.
Yeah, Melbourne's fantastic. I'm kind of still meeting people all the time. I'll go out to a gig and hear someone and wow, it's just incredible. So
Wow.
it's fun,
Wow. And
but it
also,
is amazing.
gigs also are available. I mean, and to play improvised music or
Yeah, it's
really?
busy.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, amazingly, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
So it's fun, and then I come back, do some playing with some folks back home in the States and Canada, and then come back here. It's good.
Wow. Incredible,
Yeah.
man. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, when you texted that you're in Australia, I was like, wow, what are you doing there? You know,
I
it's just,
know.
but wow, fantastic. Yeah, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, 2020, I thought, oh, I got offered this job, so I thought, oh, I'd try it out, and I got here in January 2020, and then
Already. Okay.
then we had COVID, and I couldn't leave because Australia was locked down. We couldn't go anywhere. Melbourne was the lockdown was crazy, and then things opened up and started to check things out, and just yeah, really loved it.
Wow, fantastic, man. Beautiful. Cool. Otherwise, I wanted to start this. You know, I have you on so many records. That's why I dropped you a line. And the other day, I was listening to that one with Munder and Chris Gastrin.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was like, man, we should do a talk. And but you know, you've been so busy lately. I listened to some records you've done with your wife Peggy, and
Hmm.
all dating back to last year, like at least three, like you know, the one, the old country, new country, and the stories one. And
Yeah.
like, how did all these records happen? And especially, how do you guys with Peggy? How do you work that as both improvising musicians, and do you talk about music and composition and
Yeah, well, I mean, Peggy and I have been playing together since the mid 90s.
already? Yeah, yeah,
Vancouver with all kinds of different groups. We met playing with Tony Wilson and Ron Samworth and Francois, who you probably
yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Sure, I know
Francois.
Francois. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, in all kinds of different groups, and then yeah, we kind of became almost like a strange rhythm section in a way. We started to play with Dave Douglas and a
Yeah.
few other band people would come through Vancouver, and then we'd end up on the road with them and doing records with them and stuff like that. And then of course Peggy has her own projects
Yeah, yeah.
that she wrote for. I mean, some of them are quite large ensembles. And so I'm lucky I get to hang around and be a part of that. Some of them I've helped to produce.
Yeah.
And so now she spends some time here in Australia as well. So that Old Country, New Country record, that's with Paul
Yeah,
Williamson,
yeah, yeah.
the Australian trumpet player, lovely guy, brilliant musician. And so we did that here. There's another group that we've formed here called Open Thread, and we're going to be touring in Canada in
Okay.
June with that group. That's with Julian Wilson, incredible saxophone player, and Theo Carbo, who's this amazing young guitar player who's
Wow.
he's
Wow.
destined for really great things, I think.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, we're always yeah, we're lucky. We're always working together, doing different things. We each have our own things that we do
Yeah, yeah,
also as well.
absolutely.
But no, it just goes on and on. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. I wanted to ask you also this, like, when I listen to you play, you have you've developed quite a unique style of playing. I mean, it's kind of between improvised and not straight. It's you, like, and this is quite rare, I think. Like, who were your influences, or like, who did you listen to, or how did you enter this world of improvised music that you said, like,
Thank
shit, I want to do this kind of playing? I mean, who were the drummers?
Well, I think when I first started getting seriously into improvising on the drum kit, I was really into jazz drummers. So listening to the classic jazz drummers that most people listening to, like Art Blakey and Philly Joe Jones and
Okay.
those kinds of folks. But then I pretty quickly got interested in free jazz music. So I was listening to a lot of, Ornette Coleman and Cecil Taylor and Albert Ayler as well. So Ed Blackwell was a huge
Mm.
influence for me. Paul Motion still,
Yeah, yeah, I hear that.
still
Yeah.
very, very, very close to him and his music. Um, Billy Higgins as well. So yeah, I mean, I came up really like I learned how to play the drums, I would say, by listening to 60s rock and straight ahead jazz. Um, I grew up all across Canada, but my high school years were spent on the West Coast. So one of my friends at the time was a saxophone player named Seamus Blake, who you might know.
Sure.
Uh,
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh.
yeah, so yeah, we kind of we were in different high schools, but and I was like living actually quite far from Vancouver on a large island named Vancouver Island, and I would come over and hang out with him and stay at his place, and we would just play like all day
Really?
and listen to records and go out and play on the street. So we'd just play hours and hours and hours on the street, snare drum brushes, saxophone, just trying to swing, trying to get our shit together.
Yeah.
And that was really I learned a lot from doing that. Seamus was an incredibly hard worker, and which accounts a lot for why he sounds so amazing.
Yeah.
They also very talented as well. But so yeah, I worked really hard at that, and then but then yeah, got really interested in these free jazz musicians, art ensemble, and then started getting as I started to tour a little bit and also started to do more stuff in Vancouver. We had a great festival there.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Bringing people through. I mean, in the 90s and early 2000s, it was incredible. There are all these amazing European improvisers coming through. So I got to see and become friends with Han Benink and Michael Moore
Oh, that's
and
how you made those connections, the European. Yeah, I wanted
yeah,
to ask you about the
yeah, yeah,
European connections. Yeah.
yeah, and people like Paul Lovens and
Yeah.
um, Paul Litton, Evan Parker, that whole school of
British, yeah.
European improvising, yeah, became really fascinating to me. Um, so I became very enamored with that as well. So I had this kind of interest in straight ahead jazz and all kinds of music, but also so-called free jazz, American style free jazz, Sonny Murray, Gary Peacock, that kind of stuff. And then also this these European styles, particularly the English
Yeah.
and the German schools. So yeah, I got really fascinated with that, and I think that what you hear you hear me play is some kind of just synthesis of.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the drummers that I think about a lot, I would say, would be um, Ed Blackwell, Paul Motion,
Yeah.
Paul Lovens, and Han in certain ways as well.
Interesting.
So yeah, they're huge for me. But earlier on, it was definitely a lot of Tony Williams, the younger Tony Williams, that 60s
Yeah, yeah,
New
yeah.
York sound. Yeah, I was really into that when I was younger.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, I hear a lot of Paul in a sense of leaving space, when you play, because you have
Yeah, I love. Yeah,
the use of space when you play. It's beautiful that,
ex-
many drummers overplay it, which, and not
yeah.
with you. I mean, you can, of course, like go crazy, but like usually it's like really nice, and I like that. That's
That's
great.
that mystery in his playing, like that's what I really love about his playing is it's not about he has his own way of playing the drums obviously and he's his own kind of virtuoso.
Yeah,
Uh, but just that kind of sense of mystery you get when you listen to him. I love that.
yeah. Like you mentioned Canada and Vancouver. I mean, who were the first connections that's when you started touring? I mean, I have you like on 6 records by Francois Houle, which are some of my favorite records, the in the vernacular and all that stuff,
Oh
which
yeah,
are
yeah.
beautiful. Like, how did you start entering the scene in Canada and the first players?
Well, after high school, after my time hanging out with Seamus and some of the people in Vancouver early on, I went to Montreal for a while,
Mm,
and that was kind of up and down. Didn't work out so well for me. Then I decided to come back to Vancouver, and there was a whole new crew of people there, Francois being one of them. Peggy showed up shortly after that, or I think she was already there, but she showed up on the kind of improv scene a little bit after that. Um, there was Ron Samworth, who was doing a lot of work
mm,
there. He was putting on all kinds of shows and forming bands. Tony Wilson also, and Francois was really building his career then. So he was working really hard to put bands together, get them touring,
yeah.
do all the stuff you're supposed to do to build a career. And yeah, so I was recommended to for his first group by my friend Joe Williamson, who now lives in Stockholm,
Mm,
a wonderful bass player and visual artist. And so I joined that Francois band for a while, and then that broke down into a trio with Tony. Um, and then there were a couple of other really interesting records that he did. There was one, I think my favorite one is called Cryptology.
oh yeah. I have
Yeah,
it. Yeah, yeah.
and it's funny because
It's
about two
good.
years ago, I was talking to Benoit Delbecq, and he was saying, "Yeah, I think that's my favorite one
Yeah,
too."
yeah,
And that's got this great trumpet player, Brad Turner, on it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
on.
He's amazing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great record. Um, but then before we did that record, we also broke down into a trio with Tony, and we toured that for a while. Um, um, what else? Yeah, and then Francois got really interested in the music of John Carter. So
Yeah, that's a nice
he
record.
set up this project with Dave and Mark Dresser. We went out and did that in New York. That was really fun. Um, yeah, and then we just kind of moved off into different directions. And Francois went. I'll be seeing him. I think he's on some of the tour dates that we're doing in Canada. So it'll be nice to reconnect. Yeah.
Did you ever consider going to New York since you mentioned New York?
I was there off and on in the late 90s and early 2000s for different things. Dave was really, really nice. He
Yeah.
was
How
really
did you hook up
supportive.
with Dave, by the way? Speaking
Oh,
of
well,
Dave Douglas.
he came out to the festival. Part of it was through some of the projects with Francois, but he was coming out to the Vancouver Festival quite regularly. And I think the first time we played was in an crazy improv group, large group with, I think Peggy was in it, Evan Parker,
Wow, man. Okay.
Georg Greva,
Yeah.
and Joel. I think Joel Leon was playing bass in
Oh,
that. That was a long time ago. That was like, I don't know, maybe 94 or something like that.
wow.
Um, and yeah, we just kind of hit it off. And he was at that time he was really interested in like putting disparate things together, like straight ahead sounds with noise and with
Yeah.
all kinds. He's very coming out of that downtown, post downtown New York scene of the
Factory
80s.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so we just kind of were into the kind of a lot of the same stuff and just enjoyed hanging out and playing together. Um, and yeah, so Peggy and I would send him our stuff, what we were working on, and he was always super supportive. And then one time he brought us out to play. I think he asked Peggy to do a project he was doing at Tonic back when that was still going.
Yeah.
And then Mark Dresser and I did a duo concert on that same bill, which was really fun. Um, and then when he got the job at Banff, he got a job as the director of the Banff Center after Kenny Werner had it, I think.
Yeah.
He asked us to come out there and join the faculty there. So we did that and recorded a record with Louis Sclavis out there.
Yeah, that's a really nice record. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that record too.
Okay.
And then what else we did? Yeah, and then we went and we did this amazing tour in Italy where we did the Mountain Passages record, where we were climbing around, playing on the
Oh yeah,
mountaintop.
those festivals. Yeah, in the Dolomites. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
crazy, man.
it was great. It was so great. And Yeah, we do. We'd play these every night. Every day was a different mountaintop, and then we'd come back and have this great food and everything, you know. And then let's see, like 2 years ago, we did a reunion concert. It was the 20th,
Oh, really? Oh, man.
anniversary of that tour. So we went and we did one mountaintop, but it was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I know
So
this. That's
yeah,
crazy. Oh,
yeah, we had a long break. We didn't really connect very much, and then we this this fantastic promoter in Hamilton, Ontario, Jem Zafir, brought the band back together for a festival in Canada, and we were all like, "Oh, this is fun. We should do this again." And then yeah, Dave booked that little short tour
fantastic.
reunion tour. It was fun.
Yeah, it's a nice project, that Mountain Passages. I mean, such a
Yeah.
beautiful one. Yeah. We mentioned Sclavies before, and you mentioned before already the European connections, and there's a lot of Dutch players. I mean, your last name is Dutch, so basically, I don't know whether therefore these Dutch connections, but you did a lot with Tobias Delius, and then uh, I mean, there's Achim Kaufmann. Okay, he's German. I love the trio, by the way.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
how did all these stories with all these players happen? With Wilbert also, the Oda, and
Yeah, a lot of it did center, a lot of those projects and connections did emerge from, again, the Vancouver Festival.
okay,
The director back in that time was a fellow named Ken Pickering,
yeah,
who was this really visionary guy who also had this great vision for his local scene as well. So he was really active and he really believed in us. So he was really kind of doing everything he could to kind of connect us with people. And so, yeah, there was again one of these maybe 3 or 4 years where there were a lot of people from Amsterdam coming,
okay,
and including Toby and Han and Wilbert. And I really loved how they played, and I got paired up with them occasionally. And then occasionally I'd get over to Europe and get to play with them just sort of informally at little gigs here and there. There's a place in Amsterdam called Zaal 100, which you may have played at or know about.
yeah,
But
I know it. Yeah,
yeah, it's in a squat. It's a really nice little place, community venue. And then those kind of grew into different kinds of little tours. One time I got to tour with Toby's quartet subbing for Han, which was
mm,
felt my shoes were way too big. Um, um, and then yeah, doing some projects with Michael and Achim,
yeah,
Michael Moore and Achim,
that's a nice
and
trio. Yeah,
yeah, I love that trio. And yeah, and then just different things with improvisers over there. Once I was over there, it's harder now, but there was a time when you could still kind of come over, play a couple of festivals, and then just do any kinds of little gigs that were available, you know.
yeah.
And yeah, and then sometimes they'd come over to the to North America and say, "Hey, let's book a tour." So we do that. Um, yeah, just fantastic people and just such original,
It's a completely
fast,
different aesthetic, right? I mean,
totally
of
different. Yeah,
improvising. Interesting.
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, someone like, for example, Toby,
Yeah,
he's coming out of like free improvisation and free jazz and all of that, but he's also coming out of like really old school tenor playing,
yeah,
like Arne Cobb and Chu Berry and that kind of thing, right? Which I love, that big tenor
yeah, yeah,
sound.
yeah.
No, so there's that kind of vibe going on, but then there's also Albert Eiler in there, and then there's all of that influence of the European improvising stuff in there as well. Achim also, I mean, he's
Yeah.
such a technically incredible piano player, but he also is he's masterful with jazz. Like you could just start you throw
Yeah, yeah.
anything at him. I mean, he's amazing, right? Same thing with Michael. But then there are other European improvisers I played with over the years who they just have crafted their thing almost seemingly out of nothing, just out of
Mm,
just like working with their community and just experimenting with their instrument, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, like some of the London improvisers like John
John
Butcher.
Butcher, yeah, I love the duo you guys did.
Oh
That's
yeah,
but completely
he's
different than like
totally
the
different.
Open
Yeah,
Strain. Yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
I
and
like that.
so I think playing with John, and with John in duo, and also with Torsten, there's I think John really likes the fact that I might bring a little bit of something that's um, what's the right word? Um, just 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 a little bit more American influence
Yeah,
or
yeah,
North American
different. Yep.
do that, and I think he enjoys that. Um, and and then of course we had this group with Paul Rutherford, Torsten and Paul Rutherford and Ken Vandermark
Really? I didn't know that.
for a
Oh,
short
shit.
period. Yeah, that was a really fun group.
Did you guys record or?
Yeah, we've
Oh, shit,
got
I have to find it. Okay. Oh.
on my Bandcamp page there's a couple of
Ah, okay.
records there. Yeah, just their live shows. Um, but yeah, working with Paul was really fascinating as well because he's really connected to that sort of older generation, you know.
Yeah, like
Uh,
late
so
60s,
yeah,
Kenny Wheeler and all these guys when
yeah,
they're coming up. Yeah, Alex
exactly.
Riley
That's
and
right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, all those guys. So he had some great stories and just yeah, lovely guy and just a killer. He was such a killer player.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Also,
Um,
also nice. I mean, I know your Chicago connection with Jason and the Tiger's Milk and Mazurek.
Bob, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which is a nice one. And but I didn't know with Ken that you worked. I'll check it out. Super.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Tiger's
it's
Milk
very
was close.
it's very kind of wild sounding,
Mm,
almost feral. It's good. If you
yeah,
like that thing, yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's like everything. If it's good, it's good. That's I don't care.
Mm.
Whatever it is. Yeah, fantastic, man. What about you now being in Australia? I mean, are you still coming to Europe, or what are your plans for this year, or project-wise, recording-wise, touring-wise?
This year, no trips to Europe. I think Peggy's coming there later. I think she's at Monheim
Oh, really? Okay.
doing a couple of things, something with Julia Olea and also with Darius Jones.
Oh, wow, fantastic.
I won't be there, but I'm doing a West Coast, West North America tour with Wayne Horvitz and Brigham Kraus.
Whoa, man, that's
We've
fantastic.
had this project, this trio project for a long time. It's always been really under the radar, which it'll probably stay that way. But yeah, we just enjoy hanging out and playing music together. And
I love
Brigham,
Brigham,
like,
man. Ooh,
oh, he's amazing.
so
Yeah, he's
underrated.
oh totally and so original.
Yeah.
He's so different. Yeah. And so I'm really excited about that. Hopefully everything will go well at the borders and everything, but we'll see how that goes. Um, and then, like I said, I've got this tour with Peggy and the two Australians. We're going to be going across Canada and then recording at the end of that. So hopefully we'll get a new record out of that. And then yeah, there's lots going on here. I've just done a record with an amazing veteran Australian saxophone player named Sandy Evans. I'm not sure if you know of her,
No,
but
no.
she's really something else. Yeah, she's been basically at the heart of free improvised music, creative music in Australia for decades now. So that's been really exciting to work with her. Um, there's a couple of larger group projects going on. Yeah, it's quite busy here. So
Mm.
um, for
Because you
now,
have
anyway.
festivals, like what, Melbourne and Sydney and all these towns have festivals also, like per
Yeah,
Canberra,
yeah.
or really? Wow.
And there's a great festival in Canberra called Sound Out,
Ah, okay.
which
Wow.
is which is more free improvisation festival, and they bring in folks from Europe.
Hmm.
This year they had uh, Frederick Blondy from Paris. I don't know if you know
No,
him.
no.
Yeah, and he brought a group. Um, who else? And yeah, then he also will have like some more kind of sort of senior level, if you like, improvisers from Australia, and then he'll also have a lot of emerging improvisers, which is great because these really young improvisers get to connect with their older players
Yeah,
in Australia, and also get to meet all these European players who have this whole different take on things.
interesting. Wow.
So that's a fantastic festival.
Wow. Yeah, I've never checked, because, obviously I'm in Slovenia, so I mostly play in Europe or in the States I did, but I never check Australia because it's just to get there and book a tour
So
there.
far.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's too far, man. Like too expensive, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah,
and everything. So
yeah,
that's why
yeah,
I'm asking you because I'm completely not familiar with it.
yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, it is. Like I was like I say, I really had no idea when I got here. I thought there's got to be a few good players. It's just crazy. It's like
Wow.
Melbourne. I mean, Sydney too. Sydney's got these really unique, eccentric. There's this great trumpet player named Phil Slater.
Don't know.
Yeah, if you get a chance, check out his
I'll check this
Bandcamp.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got this great record called The Dark Pattern with Simon Barker on it. He's a beautiful drummer
Yeah.
from
Someone I heard. Yeah.
Sydney. Yeah, just beautiful music.
Wow.
Really unusual. There's a wonderful piano player here named Andrea Keller. She's a fantastic composer and beautiful improviser. Um, and then, of course, there are people like John Rose, who you probably know of.
No,
Very
I
much more
have to write down all these names, man. Like,
he's got some European connections. First time I heard him, actually, he used to play in a really great band with Tony Buck
really?
from,
Wow.
yeah, I'm sure you know Tony.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Tony, I know. Yeah.
And my friend Joe, actually, my friend Joe, the bass player.
Well, yeah.
Uh, yeah. Um, and yeah, just at that Sound Out festival, Tony and Magda were there. Magda was playing solo. It was beautiful.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
I'll
so
investigate these guys a
there's a
bit.
lot of amazing musicians to check out here. I'll give you an even longer list if you like.
Yes, send me, please. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to. I don't know where to start, you know. So, I mean, I know some players.
Yeah,
Obviously, I have records by Mike Knock
yeah.
and some other guys, but there's
And
this
there's this
guitarist.
incredible younger scene here, like in Melbourne. There's all these,
I can
you
imagine.
know, folks between like, 25 and 35 who are doing all this really cool stuff.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, if you know, if they have universities there, and that's great. That and players
Yeah,
like you know, have who have experience. If they're you guys are brought in, that's fantastic for the community. I mean, that they
yeah.
get to learn, you know, firsthand from guys who've been doing that for like 30 years. So that's fantastic.
I learn a lot from them too. It's yeah. I'm lucky in my job because I get to meet all these enthusiastic, super talented young musicians
Yeah,
who, I get to teach, but I also learn a lot from them as well. So
yeah, yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Fantastic, man. Beautiful. Cool. Dylan, if you're ever in Europe, drop me a line or something. You know, hopefully we get to play or
Yeah, I'd
do
love
something
that.
for you guys one day.
It'll happen. It'll happen. I'm sure I'll be there before too long.
Yeah, yeah.
I will
Just let me
be in
know.
touch.
You know, I have a drum set here in the studio, or we can get some gigs together here in Europe or something. So,
Okay, I'll come knocking on your door one of these days.
yeah, we live in a wine region, so if you like white wine, then
Ah, okay. Yeah.
cool. But man, I'll leave you a nice. What you guys have? Afternoon now there or something, right?
Yeah, it's
Five.
5:30.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that you get to enjoy the evening. But thanks, man, for sharing some of these thoughts. Appreciate it. Was
Thanks for
nice to
inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
nice to talk.